Yo, nothing's cooler than a coolly designed HubSpot email template, and in this Sprocket Talk tutorial, I'm going to show you 5 ways to add styles to those emails and make them awesome. Let's get into this right here, right now. Let's do it. Remember, if you need training past this tutorial, that's what we do. Weekly training or 1 and 2 day workshops on everything HubSpot, everything awesome. Let's go ahead and dive into the portal and get this job done. As you can see, we're in our HubSpot portal now, and it's email goodness time. It's styling, CSS, inline, sheets. But before we get into the design manager and any of that stuff, you can see I have a settings tab open. The way that you would get there is actually click on this settings gear. And once that loads, you're going to see all of these left-hand choices. You're going to dive into marketing, and notice you're going to dive into email. And what we all need to realize is that we can set some default styles for our email, people, in email settings. We can set the body width. We can set the email body padding. Ooh, I can't tell you how many times I've gone in to remove padding in a template when we could have removed it globally inside of here as the settings. Look at this, by the way, too. Footer, default footer, add a footer. That's probably another tutorial in the future. But fonts, if there are certain fonts that you want to use, that you want for backup even with the email providers that don't do well with style sheets, because here's the thing, you can design for a great fallback, but you can also design for a great email in the clients that will accept the style sheets and other things that we're going to talk about. You can do font size, font colors. This is also where you can do the primary accent color, secondary accent color, body color, background color. Oh my gosh, a ton of stuff. And then look at this, border color options. Set email body border color automatically, manually set email body color. Do not add border around the email body. How many of you have wondered, how do I get rid of that border? It's right there. And then while we're here, go ahead and pick your brand colors. Put them in your color picker so they come along for the ride. Anyway, make sure that your settings here for emails are great before you go to the next step. Now, when you're done with that, you can head over to your design manager. And to do that, we're going to go in here and go marketing, files and templates, and then over to design tools. And in design tools, what I am working on is a test template just to show you what we can do here. The best way to add any of your styles to anything that you're doing in an email, again, remember, designing for a great fallback, is to come in here and then go ahead and do an inline style. Now, might I suggest, if you don't know CSS, cascading style sheets, then you can do another tutorial. You can Google it, you can YouTube it, you can lynda.com it. There's plenty of places that you can figure out what this CSS styling is, and you can do a lot in here with backgrounds and borders and all sorts of fun stuff. But that is the best way to put some styling in here, is inline styling. But remember, this only needs to happen when you can't take care of it with your text color or background color or border color, or if you're trying to do what in most cases is padding and margin, you can use inner spacing, outer spacing, you can do border. So what I always do, again, designing for a good fall back scenario here with email providers that don't do the best, is I try to stay in this section: outer space, inner space, border, border color, background color, text color. Then I come into any other inline styling that I want to do, and I do that for each individual module that I may have or group that I may have on the page. Now, if I want to do a little bit above and beyond that, another thing I can do is I can have a style sheet inside of the head of the email. So you can see here, linking to a Google font, we're getting different styles, we're putting them in here in the head. Now notice I did that by just making sure I didn't have anything selected, then that gave me the main part of the template. And then last but not least, I do want to show you, because this is kind of hard to work with. Notice how that's kind of skinny and things get cut off. If you want to, you can come in here and you can hit add, and then you could search for HTML, and you could take an HTML module and you could just drag it into the template. And then instead of having this code over in this little sidebar, we could copy and paste it, come into our HTML module, go down here to edit HTML source, and we can paste our styles right in here. Now, this is more like an editor that we can actually see, and we get the color coding and all that fun stuff, and we can hit publish changes, and it's going to then be attached to our email. We can go ahead and get rid of the styles in the head section here because we've got them now in the email. Warning, warning, warning. The only things that you want to have in this style sheet is for the things that you know will work with the email service providers that it will work with. Do not think that you can just put a style sheet in here and it's going to work with something like Lotus 7, 8, 9, whatever version, or Outlook, whatever version. That's why we started with the settings styling. That's why we started with the inline styles and the style ports or areas that HubSpot gives you by default. Then we moved into the styling inside the head and styling inside a style sheet, because before you build your email or before you start to add styles to an email that somebody has built for you, make sure you understand what you can and can't do in other email providers. And of course, you can always go over to the email tool and test it in the different email service providers. Look, styling your emails with HubSpot, folks, it's just that simple. It's just that easy. So the thing to remember with emails is always have a fallback. Always make sure you're paying attention to designing in a way that it looks good in the worst case scenario, and then build up upon that. Make sure you use the styles right. Make sure you do some research. And of course, as always, this is George B. Thomas from Impulse Creative saying happy HubSpotting. Oh yeah, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for instant notifications, or do one of these things.